Good morning students. Today we will be discussing the continuation of the previous chapter, that is data structures. Data structures, in the previous class we had a discussion on data structures. We will be continuing the same chapter. Today's class we will have data structures part 2. The main topic which will be discussed in this chapter is arrays. Arrays, you are familiar with this chapter. So in first PC syllabus you have already studied this, and also you had written some programs on this. So we will have few more programs in this second PC syllabus on arrays. So today we will have data structures part 2, which is chapter number 4. Let us have a look on the weightage of the chapter. So as informed earlier, so you will be getting 14 marks from this chapter. So one 1 mark question, one 3 mark question, and two 5 mark question. In total 14 marks coming out of this chapter for your annual exam. Let us have a recap of the things what we discussed in the previous class. We discussed about data structure. Data structure is all about organizing the data and accessing the data efficiently. Then we had discussed types of data structures, that is primitive and non-primitive data structures. So we had a discussion on the different operations that can be performed on primitive data structures, that is create, select, update and destroy. So similarly we studied non-primitive data structures, and in non-primitive we discussed linear data structures and non-linear data structures, and also operations on linear data structures, that is the operations on linear data structures, that is insert, insertion, deletion, traversal, search, sort and merging. So now we will be starting a new topic in the same chapter called arrays. So what is an array? You already know this. Array is a collection of homogeneous data elements. Homogeneous means same type. As we know, a variable is required to store the data. Array is required to store group of data. These data items are called as elements. As we know that each element can be accessed with the index. The index always starts with 0, a of 0, a of 1, like that. Since the elements are accessed using subscript or the index number, they are also called as subscripted variables. There are three types of arrays: one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. There is no 3 dimension. It is 1 dimension, 2 dimension and multi-dimension. Today's class we will be discussing 1 dimension arrays. Let us see what is 1 dimensional array. An array with 1 row or 1 column, or it will have n elements, and each element is accessed with the index. The elements are stored in contiguous locations and they are referred by its index number, and in 1 dimension array each element is referred by 1 index. So let us see the example where we are declaring an array with data type array name size. Size specifies the number of elements you want to store in the array. Suppose if you want to store 50 elements, so you will be specifying size as 50. Suppose if you are storing 10 elements, you need to specify the size as 20. So array index always starts with 0 and the last index is always n minus 1. If there are 10 elements, so the first index is 0 and the last index is 9. The first element starts with 0 and the last element is available at 9. So we say that the last index is always n minus 1 for n elements. if n elements are 10, if there are 10 elements, the first index starts with 0, the last index is 9, that is 10 minus 1. So in the picture you can see on the screen one dimension array. The array which is used to represent and store data in a linear form is called single or one dimension array. How do we create a array? So syntax shows the data type, array name followed by the size. For example, int a of 5. A can store 5 integer elements. Now what is the array size? So total size in bytes, length of the array into size of the data type. Length of the array, a array holds 5 elements in the example, and to store one element we require 2 bytes. So 5 into 2, 10 bytes memory is required for a. As you can see in the example, a of 0, a of 1. A of 0 stores 5, a of 1 stores 7, a of 2 stores 2. Likewise, a of n minus 1. Array size is 5 in the example. So last index will be 4 and the last index element stored is 9. So let us discuss the features of one dimension array. The feature of one dimension array says that array size should always be a positive number. Whenever you declare an array, when you are specifying the size, you need to specify always with a positive value. As we know that string is a single dimensional array. In C++, the strings are always terminated by a null character, that is last character of a string is always null. So array elements are counted from 0 to n minus 1. As we know that array, the first element is stored at index 0 and the last index is always n minus 1. If there are 5 elements, first element is at 0, last element is at 4. The next feature of 1D array is it is useful for reading multiple elements. Let us have a look of the different operations that can be performed on one dimension array. Traversing. Accessing each element of the array at least one time is called traversal. Searching. So finding the location of the element in the given array is called searching. Sorting. Sorting is arranging the elements in the array in particular order, that is in ascending order or descending order. Insertion. Inserting an element to the array. So similarly we have deletion, removing an element from the array. Then we have merging, combining one or more arrays into a single array is called merging. As you can see, the different operations that can be performed on 1D array are traversing, searching, sorting, insertion, deletion and merging, which are the same operations as we perform on linear data structure. So if a question is asked, write the operations that can be performed on linear data structures or 1D arrays, it is same. Or if they ask you to write the operations that can be performed on non-primitive data structures, you will have to write the same operations, that is traversing, searching, sorting, insertion, deletion and merging. So let us see traversing. Traversing is the process of visiting each element from the beginning to end at least one time. For example, to find the maximum element of the array, we need to access each element of the array to know the maximum element. Accessing each and every element from the beginning to end at least one time is called traversing. Let us take the example B. For example, A be the linear array, LB and UB. LB is the lower bound, UB is the upper bound. That is, LB is the index of the first element in the array, UB is the index of the last element of the array. For example, location is equal to LB to UB. That means we are starting from lower to higher or upper bound. We take each element and we process it. So, this is the algorithm for a linear search. In simple words, you can say for I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, we process A of I and we repeat the process till we reach n minus 1. That means from beginning to end. So, we are accessing the element to perform some operation, and this operation is called traversing. Let us see a program where we include IOStream, IOManip, Conio.h, void main, we are taking an array with size 10, we are clearing the screen, we are accessing how many elements, we are accepting n or the size of the array, cout, enter the elements, we are accepting array elements, and then we are printing the array elements from the beginning to end. Next is searching an element. Searching refers to finding the location of the element, given element in the array. It refers to finding the location of the element in the linear array. There are many algorithms to perform search operation. Search means finding the location. So, we will be discussing the most common methods used to conduct search. One is linear search and the other is binary search. First, we shall discuss linear search. So, what is linear search? So, linear search is one of the simplest searching technique where the search begins from the first element till the end of the array. So, searching starts from the beginning till the last element. One by one elements are compared, so it is also called linear search, is also called sequential search. Let us have a look on the algorithm to perform linear search. So, location is equal to -1. We begin from 0 to n minus 1. If A of P is equal to 0, so we begin with the first element. ELE is the searching element. So, we are comparing the first element with the searching element. If both matches, then we are noting the location and then we go to end, that is go to step 3. Otherwise, the next element is compared. If location is -1, when we compare the values, we are storing the location. If it is greater than 0, then we are printing the location. Otherwise, we are printing unsuccessful search. Search is unsuccessful. So, in linear search, it does not require any sorted data. Any list is more than enough to conduct search. So sorted list is not required, any list will be okay. To conduct linear search, the search begins with the first element and then we go on comparing the elements from the beginning to end. If the searching element matches with the element, then location is noted and then the comparison stops. Otherwise, it is compared with the next element. So let us see a program on linear search. First we are including iostream.h, conio.h, iomanip.h. The program begins with void main. Enter number of elements. We are accepting number of elements. Then we are accepting array elements. So after accepting array elements, we are accepting search element, that is ELE. Then position is equal to -1. We begin the search from I is equal to 0 to I is less than n. Then we are comparing the element with the array element. If both matches, we are noting down the position and then we break the loop. We will not continue if we find the searching element. If you don't find the searching element, the search again continues with the next element. So this search continues until we get the last element. And we note down the position and loop breaks. If position is greater than 0, then the element is present at the position. Otherwise, we say unsuccessful search. So this is the program which represents linear search. Linear search program, you need to study this for your practical exam. Next we will be discussing another searching technique, the most commonly used, that is binary search. Binary search, it is very similar to a searching technique which you apply to search a word in a dictionary. So here we require sorted data. Sorted means arranged data. If data is not arranged, it is not possible to perform binary search operation. In binary search operation, first the list is divided into two parts. The list is divided into two parts and we take the middle element. We compare the middle element with the searching element. If both matches, we note down the position and search stops. Otherwise, if the element is less than the searching element, then search is conducted in the left part of the list. Otherwise, if the element is greater than the middle element, the search is conducted in the right part of the list. When the elements of the array are stored in order, sorted in order, the best method of searching is binary search. This method, the element to be searched with the middle element, it compared with the middle element. If comparison does not match, search is conducted either in the left half or the right half of the list. As you can see, it is a sorted list. List is divided into two parts and we take the middle element 5. If we have to search 8, then 8 is searched in the right part. If you want to search 2, then the search will be conducted in the left part. So the middle element is obtained by B plus E. B is the beginning and end is the E is the end, but B plus E by 2 will give us the mid position. We will compare the mid position with the element. If both are matches, then the search is successful. Otherwise, if the element is less than the middle element, then we change the ending element. Otherwise, if the element is greater, we change the beginning of the element. So let us see this example. So we want to search for 6. First we take the middle position, that is 4. 6 is compared with 4. As 6 is not equal to 4, then we compare whether 6 is less than 4. It is false. As 6 is greater than 4, then we are conducting search in the left part of the list, and then we compare it until we get the searching element. If beginning is greater than end, then the search stops and search is unsuccessful. So in the next class we will be learning the algorithm on binary search and other operations on the binary search. Thank you for patience listening. God bless you. All the best.